Okay, so I'm going to show you one of the easiest ways to double your sales on Amazon KDP. And the best part is it's actually free. Now, I know it sounds clickbaity and things like that. This is not clickbait at all. I've tested this with hundreds of clients myself and it works. If you apply what I'm going to show you in this video to your existing books, then your sales will be able to double. I can't guarantee that they'll double because I can't guarantee that you'll do it exactly as I say. But the publisher that does apply what I tell them will see a massive increase in their sales. And the best part is this thing, you don't have to pay more for ads. So you're not wasting more money on ads. You don't have to pay any more for promotion. You don't have to spend any money. You can do this completely for free. You can spend money if you want to, but I want to show you the free way as well. Now, once my clients actually applied what I told them and what they discovered, then they were able to see an increase in their sales. Now, what is it that they did? Well, before I show you what they did, I want to show you why it's so important and how it actually doubles your sales. So the first thing we need to understand is the customer journey of someone buying your book on Amazon KDP. Now, when it comes to your customer journey, there's only 3 steps your customer takes. Well, there's a few more, but we need to keep it simple in this video. Now, the first step they take is to actually look at your book. So they want to see your book on Amazon, right? That means you get an impression. This is what an impression is. An impression essentially means it popped up on someone's screen. Now, these people that see your book, that gained an impression, then these are your potential customers, or the people that might buy your book. You can't sell to someone that hasn't gained an impression. So if these are all the people on Amazon, and these are the people where your books are getting impressions, then you can't sell to anyone here because they don't even know your book exists. You're not even on their screen. They can't buy your book if you're not on their screen. So this is essentially your market, depending on how many impressions you get. This is everyone that could buy your book. But not everyone's going to buy your book, right? Because most of these people are not going to buy your book. So what's the second step? The second step is actually the first investment the customer makes in you. Now, what is the first investment a customer makes? If they see your book on Amazon on the search results, then they need to take an investment. They need to take a step to buy your book. What is that step that shows that they're interested? Well, that's clicking on your book. If they click on your book, that's an action that they're taking. Now, if it's an action that they're taking, that shows that they're invested. That shows that you have something that they might find valuable. Now, if they don't click on your book, then you lost your customer, right? Because you can't sell to someone that hasn't clicked on your book. How are you going to sell them something on Amazon if they haven't clicked on your book? So if you gained an impression, you popped up on someone's screen, but then they scrolled straight past you, did not click on your book, then you automatically lost the sale. You have a 0% chance of making a sale. 0% because they haven't clicked on your book. Now, if your book looks good and is interesting, and then someone says, hey, you know what, this book looks interesting, let me click on it. Great. That's the initial investment. See, I can't even talk now. But that's the first investment your customer gives you. So it's the first thing. They're telling you, hey, I think this book looks good. Now, this is so important because they take the action, not you. You don't have to convince them of anything. You've already done your part. They take the action. So because they take the action, that's super important. This part here is so important because this part here is how many people actually take action after looking at my book. Now, these things might not make sense, but I'll explain it in a bit. And then finally, it's actually your conversion rate. So this is actually how many people buy. So yes, a lot of people clicked on your book, but not everyone's going to buy. Because when they click on your book, they click on competitors' books as well. They compare your books between them and they pick the best one. If your one isn't the best one, then you're probably not going to get the sale. The most important part right here is this part right here. The original investment that the client makes or the customer makes on Amazon. They need to give your first investment. They need to give their first investment in your book. Now, how do you get this first investment? Super simple. You need attention. Why attention? Because attention is one of the most valuable things because right here, everyone is begging for their attention. You're just getting an impression. There's 0 investment from the client side. If there's 0 investment, then there's 0 chance that you're going to make money. You have to get them to invest slightly in your book. No one's going to invest slightly in your book by clicking on it if they're not attracted to it, if they don't bring attention, if your book cover doesn't bring attention. And that leads on to my next point. Your book cover. This is what determines your click. Now, I know some people are going to say, yes, reviews and things like that. Completely agree. There's almost like a percentage of importance for each one, but your book cover is like 90% of it. If your book cover is amazing, then your clicks are going to be high. And obviously, if your clicks are high, conversion rates also going to be, well, no, conversion rates completely different. But if your clicks are high, your sales are going to increase as well. just because you're bringing more people onto your listing, right? Let me make everything super, super clear so you guys can understand even better. Now, the thing we drew before, imagine this as buckets of water. Okay, so these are buckets of water, but they have little holes inside of them. Now, this bucket of water, obviously we put a bunch of water in it. These are your impressions, just like we talked about before. But then there's a second bucket of water underneath. Now, this bucket of water's job is to collect the water up here. Now, because it's a smaller bucket, some of the water is going to fall out, so it's not going to collect it anyway. But some of the water is going to go straight into the bucket, and it will start collecting the water, right? Now, these are your clicks. Now, just like I said, most of the people that are going to see your book, or they're probably not even going to notice your book. An impression just means it popped up on someone's screen. Doesn't mean their eyes actually saw your book and consciously realized that it's on their screen. It just means it was on someone's screen somewhere. You don't know if they saw your book or not. But anyway, you get all these impressions. Only some of them are going to convert into clicks. Most of these people are not going to click on your book. That's the customers you're losing, that the bucket's not collecting. And the people that do click on your book, those are the ones that the bucket starts filling up. But guess what? There's one more bucket down here as well, smaller than this. This is your conversion rate bucket. This is how many people bought after they click. And again, there's holes in this bucket, and some of them are not going to go in the bucket. I know this is not how water works, but my drawings aren't good. And then some of them are going to go in the bucket. Now, whatever's left in this bucket, that's the amount of money that you make. If we want to collect more water, we need to increase one of these. Now, yes, we can increase this, but then this means for us to get more impressions, that means we need to spend more on ads. So this one costs a little bit of money. You can still make money back, but this one costs money. I promise to show you a free way. We said one of the most important ones is this one here, your clicks. Now, because it's one of the most important ones, it's actually the one that's going to help you increase your sales the easiest. This is one of the easiest ways to increase your sales, because what clicks are is essentially attention. So the more attention you can bring to your book by having a really, really good book cover, and I'll show you what makes a good book cover, don't worry, we'll get there. But by having a really good book cover, you can increase the amount of clicks that you get. Let's say we're not selling books. Okay, let's say we have a restaurant. We have not even a restaurant, let's just say a coffee shop, and people sit outside on the coffee shop. If my coffee shop is getting people, so people are walking past it, that's my impressions. This is the people that are walking past. Now, not everyone walking past my coffee shop is going to sit down for a coffee. Now, some people are going to be attracted to the coffee shop, and then they're going to sit down and buy a coffee. Some people are going to be attracted to it, but then they're going to realize, hey, maybe we're not going to sit here, let's go sit somewhere else. Now, if I'm not getting enough people buying coffee, I'm not going to mess around with this, and I'm not going to mess around with this. I'm going to mess around with this, because this part here is going to be the first investment. So if we have a coffee shop, how do we get more attention to our coffee shop? So many different ways. Because if we get more attention, by the way, we're going to convert more customers. So many different ways. Maybe we put a massive billboard, or not even a billboard, but maybe we change one of our boards, or there's like a little white chalkboard on there that says an offer for the day. Hey, here's today's coffee offer, or something like that. So maybe a billboard that will attract attention, or not just a billboard, but maybe like a big sign somewhere in the coffee shop that promotes a new coffee or something like that. That's obviously going to attract more attention. Another thing, if I have my own coffee shop and I also have some waiters outside, I would tell the waiters to at least say hi, how you doing? Hey, you guys want to have a coffee today? To the people passing by. So if I'm outside and there's people passing by, and then I'm saying, hey, awesome, having a good day. Yeah, well, we got this new coffee. Do you want to try it? If I say that to everyone that's passing, then eventually I'm going to attract more attention to my coffee shop, and I can convert more customers. So it's all about attention and figuring out ways to bring in more customers. Now, let me show you why this is so important. Let's talk some numbers here, because we're trying to run a business and we can't run a business without understanding the numbers. So what are the numbers? Well, let's just say we're getting 100,000 impressions. Does it mean anything? Absolutely nothing, because there is no investment when it comes to impressions. And again, this means your book just popped up on someone's screen. Let's say we have a 0.5% click-through rate. This is the percentage of people that clicked on your book after they saw it. So 100,000 impressions at a 0.5% click-through rate is 500 clicks. Awesome. So now we've got 500 clicks. Great. After the clicks is the conversion rate, right? Because we see how many people are going to see our book, how many of them actually gave their first initial investment, and then from them, how many of them actually bought the book. So let's say we have a slightly above average conversion rate. So we have a 14% conversion rate. If we have a 14% conversion rate, that means 40% of the people that clicked actually bought the book, which means we have, I think it's 70 sales. Great. So now we know, based on the impressions that we got and our click-through rate and our conversion rate, we get 70 sales for every 100,000 impressions. Now, if we want to increase our sales, there's multiple things we can do. So many things we can do. We can spend more on ads. If we spend more on ads, we'll get more impressions. So if we double our impressions, then obviously with the same click-through rate, we're just going to double our clicks. And then with the same conversion rate, we're going to double our sales. But this requires money. And I'm going to teach you a free way. With your conversion rate, again, you can get more reviews. You can create better A+ content. There's so many things you can do to increase your conversion rate. Better formatting. Most of the publishers I talk to, terrible formatting. The most boring formatting. They do the absolute most basic formatting and expect to stand out in their marketplace. I don't know where that idea comes from, but it's okay. I'm not here to judge. So conversion rate, again, this requires a lot of time and a lot of money. So this, just like we talked about, the click-through rate is one of the most important parts. The click-through rate, all we have to do is adjust our book cover. Sometimes you don't have to make big adjustments. Small adjustments are fine, but it's important to make the correct adjustments. If you make the correct adjustments, the most effective adjustments, then you can increase your click-through rate and you can increase your sales. Now, I know what you're saying, Barry, my book cover is good. Okay, great. Give me a second and then we'll see if your book cover is actually good. But just give me a second. Now, let's say we got the same impressions. We actually increased our click-through rate. So we just doubled our click-through rate. Great. Now we have a 1% click-through rate. What does that mean? Instead of 500 clicks, now we get 1,000 clicks. And then instead of 70 sales, our 14% conversion rate. Again, 14% conversion rate of 1,000 is going to be 140. So we just doubled our sales by doubling our click-through rate. And we doubled our click-through rate, and it's very, very easy to double your click-through rate by having a more effective book cover. If we're making, let's say, $6 profit per sale, then 70 times 6, so 70 sales that we make times 6, which is the profit we make per sale, is $420. If I come and say, hey, I think you should pay a professional designer to design a better book cover, I think you should pay $200. Most publishers are going to say,
$200 for a book cover? Oh, that's so much money.
If you can increase your click-through rate and you have a more effective one, now you just doubled your click-through rate. Over here, we're making $840. So now we're making $420 extra every single month without having to pay more for ads, without any of that, just because we hired someone with more better quality cover. Now, I know I promised you a free way, so I'm not going to tell you to go hire someone. I'm actually going to show you what makes an effective book cover. Now, here's the thing. Here's so many excuses that I hear. Barry, I am not a designer. Great. You don't have to be a designer. You just need to know what to look for. Now, in my program, I share 12 design principles. And if you understand these principles, even if you're not a designer, if you understand these principles, not only can you analyze your competitors and make a better book cover than them, but you can also increase the click-through rate of your existing book covers. So the books that you already have, if you just apply the 12 principles in your book cover, you don't have to be a designer, but if you apply them, then you can double your click-through rate and instantly make more money. You don't have to spend any more money on ads, nothing like that. You just have to make better books. And again, better book covers. Now, with the 12 design principles, they're actually like optical illusions, essentially. You don't have to be a designer. There's no skill involved. It's design. As long as you know what you're looking for, then you can create effective designs. You don't have to be a designer. You don't have to have design skill. You have to know what to look for. If I show you an optical illusion where you can see two images in one, most of you will only see the first image. And it's not until I reveal the second image to you that you can see the second one as well. Now, guess what? Once you see the second one, do you forget about the first one? No. Do you need any skill to flip between the two? No. Now that you see both of them, you can instantly see both illusions. You can just flip through them. Great. Did you need to do anything? Did you need to learn anything to see them? No. You just need to be aware of what to look for. Exactly the same thing. And I share 12 design principles inside my program. You will know all of them. Now, I can't reveal all of them on YouTube, but I will show you some really, really effective things. Now, one of the worst things I see, the biggest mistake I see is the following. Most authors and most publishers are using the boring layout. I mean, listen, the boring layout can work, but there's no point in you using it. Like, it's not going to help you in any way. It's actually going to make things worse. Now, what is the boring layout? This is a boring layout, and I guarantee most of you guys are using this right now. This is your book cover. Up here, this square is your title. So whatever your title is, here's your title right here. Then underneath it is your subtitle. So here's your subtitle right here. Then what's underneath it? This is your main image, and then right here is your author name. This is what almost every publisher is using. Now, guess what? If every publisher is using this, or most publishers are using this, isn't that the most boring thing in the world? How are you going to stand out if your layout is the same as everyone else's? Now, again, I'm not saying this layout won't work, especially if you know the design principles. Even if you're using this layout, it can still work. However, it's way more powerful if you use a different layout. If you have a unique layout, a layout that stands out from your competitors, then your book subconsciously conveys to the customer that your book is different. Your book stands out from your competitors because of the layout. Everything needs to be unique for your book in order to create a unique experience for the customer, for them to buy your book instead of competitors' books. So, what do I mean by this? Well, instead of me explaining design and book covers through a whiteboard, let's just go with the computer to see what it actually looks like. Okay, so let's just go on Amazon.com. Obviously, I'm in incognito mode, so it's going to ask me for this character thing. But what I want to do is I'm just going to go on the bestsellers. Now, incognito mode means there's no adjustments from Amazon. It's not going to look at my previous search history or anything like that. So I'm going to go on Amazon. I'm just going to type in books because that's going to reveal the books category. And then it's going to give me a bunch of bestsellers. Now check this out. Check out how many of the bestsellers are actually using the boring traditional layout. If we open this one, is this the boring traditional layout? Absolutely not. No. Can you see it? It's not pow, 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 pow. It's not stacked. In fact, let me open up. How do I show you guys now? Okay, I'm going to go on an online whiteboard. If it doesn't copy and paste, I'm just going to open up Photoshop. Yep, it doesn't copy and paste. Let me just open up Photoshop. Okay, so this is one of the biggest books on Amazon. I think it's #1. I don't even know if it's #1. Now, you might say, yes, Barry, there's so much outside marketing and it's a famous author and things. Yep, exactly. These are the people we want to copy. These are the traditional publishers that know what they're doing. These are the people that stand out. These are the people that have been doing this for years. They got marketing teams behind them. Of course we want to copy them. So if I just copy this, check this out. Is this using the boring layout? Let me just quickly make a new one. Is this using the boring layout? Absolutely not, because check this out. I'll put it red so you can see. What they're using is actually the balanced layout, so a mirrored layout. So can you see? Piece of text here, piece of text here. More pieces of text here, more pieces of text here. So can you see? They're using a different layout. They're using a mirrored layout. Whatever's on the top is also on the bottom. Let's check another one out. Next one. This one's using the traditional one, even though the main image is big. These guys can definitely get away with it. 41,000 reviews, and it's also the Hunger Games. So I don't know if it's the Hunger Games, but it says Susan. I think she made the Hunger Games. Now, this one, this is a brand new one. 19 reviews. Again, this is using a circular layout. Can you see how everything's in the middle and then the picture is around? It's not stacking. It's not using the traditional boring layout. This one here, again, you can see it, it's not using the traditional layout. So it's author name, massive text, and then the images blend in between them. This one here, this is using more of a dynamic layout. Let me show you what I mean. So if I go here and I copy this on Photoshop, then you can see they're not using the traditional text up here, then the image, then the author name. What they're doing is using a dynamic layout. So right here, they're doing the main image on the left. And you see it takes up the bottom left, and then everything goes around it. So the author name is actually next to the image, not under it. And the text over here, it goes with the image. That creates a more dynamic layout because it goes with the curvature of the image. I hope you understand. Now, if I just keep going, these are all the best sellers. If I keep going, you're going to see, again, common patterns between them. So this is the boring traditional layout. And a lot of book covers will sell because of it. And again, they have other outside marketing and things like that. However, our responsibility as self-publishers is to stand out not only against self-publishers, but also traditional publishers. Now, if we're using the same boring layout as everyone else, we're not going to stand out. Now, check this out. I'm just going to point out the ones that aren't using the boring layout. 1, 2, this one here, circular. This one here, dynamic. This one here, again, circular. Can you see how the text is in the middle? But then, let me zoom in so you guys can see. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, so can you see? There's just a text in the middle and then things around. This one, text right here, the main image around. Why is it always a fly every time I record? If I keep going, can you see? This is more dynamic as well. The person on the right and then the text on the left, right? It's not stacking on top of each other. This one, Atomic Habits, exactly like the other one that we said. These two are using the same layout, the same mirrored layout. If I draw a line in the middle, whatever's on the top is flipped on the bottom as well. Mirrored layout, dynamic layout. This one, they have the image on top first and then the text. This one here, this is the traditional layout. This one circular. This one circular. This one, almost circular. Again, this one's dynamic. And you can see this one's dynamic right here. This one here is dynamic. Can you see how the letters are all over the place? It's left and right. You see this one here is dynamic. These are the bestsellers on Amazon. This one here is dynamic. Now, even if I type in something else, let's just not look at the bestseller. Let's just type in a normal niche. Let's just go for arts and crafts. Arts and crafts books. Let's look at the ones that are selling and check out which ones actually have a unique layout and then which ones have the boring layout. Now, the boring layout, I can't see any of them with a boring layout here. But you can see right here, text in the middle, then things around bleeding off. Text in the middle, things around. Text not in the middle, a little bit on the top, but again, things are around it. And then subtitle all the way on the bottom. This one, text almost in the middle. Text and subtitle almost in the middle, and they have images on the bottom and images on the top. So can you see, these are all unique layouts. This one here is selling loads of copies. There's always a fly, it's okay. Every time I record, there's a fly. I'm just going to have to deal with it. But check this out. Everything in the middle. Things are around it. This one's in the middle. Things are around it. You see, this one, yes, it's on the top, but then the images are around it. It's not just text, image, author name. Because that's super, super boring. Even this one here, can you see? Text in the middle. Very nice fonts as well. Images around it. There's so many different layouts that you can have. You can have the flipped one. You got everything. These are how to draw. Text in the middle. Everything around it. Now let's look at a different one. Let's look at some self-help one. What about ADHD? ADHD is massive. So let's see ADHD for kids. This one here. Well, actually, we need to see which ones are selling. Let's see if the extension works now. There we go. Extension works. So let's look at the ones that are selling. Okay, so this one's selling. Is this a traditional layout? It is, but they're using a lot of different other design principles. Now, I don't know how much I should be revealing on YouTube because in the program I shared 12 of them. But I'm not going to reveal everything on YouTube. They're super, super powerful. I don't want everyone to flood the books with really high quality book covers because then it's going to make it so much harder for everyone. But whoever knows the principles knows the principles. Now this one, from what I can see, you can clearly see they're using motion within their text. So you can see that curvature. They're using textures within their text. You can see that texture of drawing, that chalk. They're using hierarchy for thriving in ADHD. And then you can see how small width is. They're using 2 different fonts as well. So you can see a thinner font, thinner handwritten font, again, right here in the subtitle. Of course, they're using a thinner handwritten font because it's a kid-friendly book. Again, they're showing motion within their image. You can see their hands up. They're using levels because you can see how different each hand is. They have different levels of height. So that's levels within design. They're using bleed to create a better environment. So you can see how the things right here, the images are bleeding. Only half of them are showing to show that the environment is a little bit bigger. And then they're blending in this author name with the image, which is really, really good. So even though they're using the normal traditional layout, it still looks absolutely amazing because they know what they're doing, because they're applying other design principles. Now, if you know what you're looking for, then even when you're hiring and even if you're going to create it yourself, you're going to create 100 times better book covers because you know what makes a better book cover or a unique book cover. You know what to look for. You know what to add. You know what doesn't look good. You know what to take away. Even if you're not a designer, you know what you're doing. And that's the whole point of making really, really good book covers. Now, let me do one final niche and then I'll get back to Whiteboard Barry. Now, I'm just going to look at some cookbooks because they usually all have the same boring book cover. Now, it's not the traditional layout. They usually have their own one, but let's just see what cookbook we're going to do. Cookbook for, I wanted to click for beginners, but I clicked for kids, so it's okay. Now, this one here, very, very nice book cover. And again, is it using the traditional layout? Absolutely not. Check this out. The text is almost like a triangle. Let me just show you on Photoshop. There we go. So the text right here is almost like a triangle. Can you see how it's a triangle coming like this? So the text is a triangle and then the images, they follow the triangle over here. And then right here, because there's this subtitle right here on the bottom, you have this America's Test Kitchen on the top as well. So this reflects almost. Again, there's so many different principles here, but this is not the traditional text, image, author name. You can see there is no author name. I can't even see the author name, but you can see how dynamic this layout is. And this is a cookbook for kids. This is not just for specific niches. This is for any niche. You need to stand out in any niche. You can see this one again, circular layout, text in the middle, food and things around. And again, they're using other design principles as well, such as colors, blue and yellow, complementary colors. Obviously that works. They're using bleed to show a bigger environment, everything around. Of course that works. So there's so many different design principles that they're using. And you can know exactly what they're doing if you understand the 12 design principles. Now, before I get carried away and just continue rambling about book covers, let's get back to Whiteboard Barry so we can show you one final thing. Awesome. So now you see how the bestsellers are using different layouts to stand out. And that's one of the reasons they are bestsellers. let me show you one last thing that I see authors struggle with before we go. A lot of authors are going to say, hey, Barry, I'm not a designer. Completely fine. You don't have to be a designer to be successful on KDP, but you do need to be, you need to have the skills. You need to know what you're doing. Because most of the time, when I talk to authors and publishers, the entire business is reliant on them. So you make the decisions for your business. Just you. Who I'm talking to now, you, I'm watching you now, you are everything. The whole business revolves around you and your brain and your skills and your knowledge. So if you look at your business and your business is failing, that's a direct reflection of what's inside your brain. So if you have the wrong knowledge about KDP and then you're applying it to your books and you're not seeing results, that's expected. Because if you're doing the wrong thing, obviously you're going to get bad results. Now, if you're doing the right thing, and you know it's the right thing because you have the knowledge and experience and everything you need and the skills, then you can clearly see, okay, I know what I'm doing wrong, I know how to make it better. So because the whole business revolves around you, it's your responsibility as a book publisher to get better every day, to gain more knowledge. Doesn't matter if you're not a designer now, understand design principles. It's your responsibility as a business person. So if the whole business relies on you, then you have two options. First of all, is do it yourself when it comes to your book covers. This is a free way. You can do it yourself because, again, if you just know the design principles, you can just slap things together. We all went to preschool and started putting things together. It's super, super easy as long as you know what to look for. You don't have to have some magical design skills and creativity. You don't really have to be creative because if you just have that 12 design principle checklist, then you can just go through it one by one. Make sure it has it in your book cover is going to look amazing. Now, if you're doing this yourself, there's only one mistake I see book publishers do wrong when they're making the book covers themselves. I would say to them, okay, how are you making your book covers? Are you outsourcing them or doing them yourself? And they'll tell me, well, I'm doing it myself on Canva, or some people use Photoshop. Great. If you use Canva, completely fine. You can do really good book covers on Canva as long as you know what you're doing. Now, the second follow-up question I ask is, what is your design experience? What is your design skill? And you know what the publishers say to me? Oh, I don't have any design skill. I have no design skill. And I'm like, okay, well, what about a course, a program, anything to teach you about design? No, nothing. And I'm like, okay, well, how do you know if your book cover is good? Well, I look at my competitors. Okay, and is it only you that sees if the book cover is good? Or do you test it with your marketplace? Most people say, oh, it's whatever one I like. Well, great. I mean, you already failed. So you don't have any design skill. You don't know what you're looking for. And not only is the book cover the most, I'm not going to say the most, but one of the most important things about your book. And then you are the person running the business. So one of the most important things about your book, which is your book cover, is all reliant on you. And then you don't have the design skills to be able to create an effective book cover. Now, this is absolutely terrible because if you're doing the book cover yourself, learn design. Learn design because you are holding yourself back by not learning design. But Barry, I'm not a designer. Great. Time to become one if you want to be successful in KDP. Now, the second one is you're probably hiring or outsourcing the book cover designers. Great. No problem. Again, if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't have design skills, how do you know that the person you're hiring or outsourcing is giving you a good book cover? Oh, but Barry, I paid a lot of money. Great. Just because you pay a lot of money doesn't mean it's a quality thing. Money doesn't always represent quality. If you trust me, and if I come to you and say, hey, I want $500 to give you to make you a book cover, and then I give you a book cover, you still don't know if the book cover is good, regardless if you paid $500. I've had publishers come to me, we had one-on-one coaching together, and I saw their book cover, and I was like, oh, this book cover is terrible. It looks like it's made on Fiverr. How much did you pay for it? And they would say $300, $400, $450 for book covers that, like from the 12 design principles, those book covers had 2, and they paid $400 for it. Now, here's the thing. Again, if you don't know the principles and you don't know design or you don't have any design skills, then when you're hiring, you don't know if the book cover is good or not. So now you're going to have to start testing with, with PickFu. So you can start testing with PickFu. That's one way to see if your book cover is good. But again, you don't have the design skills. So when you're hiring, you don't know what's good and what's not good. You don't know if that's a good designer or not. You don't know if this is effective against your competitors. You don't know anything. And also, the whole business relies on you and you have no design skills. When you have no design skills, over here, you're making bad book covers. So you're holding your book down. You can't let it grow because your book cover is limiting your growth. And then over here, you're just hoping that you find a good designer and that the designer cares enough about your book and about you making money to actually give you a quality design. But even if they give you a quality design or if they give you a bad design, you're not going to know. You're just going to see an image with some text. Yeah, looks good. Let me just slap it on Amazon. It's not working. Designer's fault. Not designer's fault, your fault. You should know what's going to work and what's not going to work. You need to build up your skills. If the business relies on you. Now, if you have a partner and they have design skills and they're handling everything, great. That's awesome. You don't have to do anything. However, if the entire business relies on you, and then one of the most important things, which is your book cover, which brings in the clicks, which can then convert into sales, because they don't click on your book, 0% chance of a sale. If they do click on your book, higher chance of a sale. Obviously, more clicks, more sales. If you don't have design skills, you don't know how to attract attention using your book cover correctly. Again, doing it yourself, no design skills, bad idea. Hiring, no design skills, bad idea. Now, if you want to learn all my 12 design principles and my entire process for publishing, then just click on the description. You're going to find exactly what you're looking for there. But if you want to continue on YouTube and see another valuable video, click on the one that just popped up here. This video is super, super valuable. You're going to absolutely love it. Anyway, I'll see you on the next one and go out there and make a bunch of money.